And we're here again. It's a Wednesday night, just a few minutes after the 8 o'clock hour. I'm Coach, and I'm with and we are Faithletic The Podcast. And we are here live and in color. Again.
Maybe. I don't hear myself.
Uh-oh. Well, did you unplug yourself? I don't hear you either. Try this.
Clumsy.
Let's try that again.
Sure.
All right. I'm Coach, and I'm with
KC.
and we are
Faithletic The Podcast.
I turned down the wrong volume. I turned you down.
You know, that's okay. Yeah, I understand. You didn't want to hear from me tonight.
I've just got to show you who's in control of this
You
thing.
are in control. We don't have an option. So
I don't know about
you
that.
You are the one that keeps us going. So that was a good reminder. Thank you for that.
Well, it wasn't. It's not really my style to do that. I actually did just turn down the wrong button. I don't understand how I did that because I didn't turn myself down, but I did turn you down for some reason.
That is an interesting.
I didn't do it intentionally.
Interesting approach, sir.
It's kind of like when I accidentally butt dial you about 4 times a week sometimes. Did you get it today?
I did.
Yeah.
And I just figure
Butt dial.
every time.
Well,
unless there are times where you call.
Yeah, I do call, but
So-
it's you are in my speed dial, and sometimes I don't know how it happens, but it like changes position on me, and like, I'm not trying to. Why am I calling Kyle? So I immediately go accidental.
Whoops! Hey,
Didn't mean to. It's
It's
fast on iPhones.
It's
fast.
You and my father-in-law.
Yeah, I mean it's fast
Jack does it all the time.
because I don't even let it cycle where it shows I hit it, and it's like wrong one, and then you still get it. I don't get it.
And it does last like 2 seconds. So for both of you, which is really funny. So anyway, it's all good. I'm not doing anything right now. It's summer break for me.
Yeah,
we made it.
You can take a call.
I can take a call. I can. Yes.
Well, how you been?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's nice to be
Out of school now?
out of school now. I don't know how to do summer yet. We'll figure it out as we go along here. But yeah, it's definitely it's a weird transition of like there's so many things that I've wanted to do because I haven't had any time, and now it's like, oh well, I have all
It's
this
time
time.
to do now.
So
you can do it now.
So yeah, that's the cool part of it for sure. So. I do love summer break. It's my favorite time of the year. Any teacher that says that they're not in it for summer break
They're
little
full
bit,
of
they're
themselves.
full of it. Yeah. Like
I'd go
it's
crazy.
the best part.
I'd go crazy.
You would?
I cannot. Look, I'm gonna have to retire in a few years yet. I mean, I'm a ways away, but
Sure.
I'm just like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do.
Yes.
I mean,
like,
I kind of think I want to raise dogs, but I don't.
that would be cool.
I don't know if I want that constant. It's like there's never a day off if you do that.
No,
though.
but
It's kind of like being a dairy farmer.
Sure.
You work every day for the rest of your life. If you ever talk to a dairy farmer, those are the hardest working people I've ever known.
I mean, I
They
believe it.
never take a vacation.
I believe it.
I mean, I remember back in my early days when I was a sales rep, and I was talking to this dairy farmer. One of my leads appointments was a dairy farmer, and he was well into his 70s then, middle 70s, and I said, "So, what kind of trips you guys take?" Like, well, we don't take trips. I'm a dairy
Right,
farmer. I said, "What does that mean?" He goes, "What? I have to work every day." Every day? How long you been
Every
doing
day.
this? 55 years. It's like,
That's-
what?
That's crazy.
How do you work every day?
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, I guess you got to tend to the
got to tend to the
you gotta tend
cows.
to the cows every day. So
Sick cows it's like cowboys. They never really get a day off. I mean, sick cows or cows are an everyday thing.
unless
Just like
I thought you were going to say the Cowboys don't take off. The Cowboys take days off. Usually Sundays.
rarely.
Are you sure?
I mean, what happens if the cows get out? They gonna just let them roam?
Oh, I was talking about the
Dallas
Cowboys.
yeah, they do take
taking
Sundays off.
Sundays off.
Are you gonna bring that up now, huh?
I'm sorry.
That was a low blow.
I'm
just gonna say that was a low blow.
That was low hanging fruit.
That
is
was
what
that
was.
was not a low
I'm
blow.
surprised you didn't catch it.
I didn't
the
catch
first
it.
Time,
That
but-
tells you how far removed I am from the Cowboys right now.
Oh, stop it!
I am.
I know you are right now.
I am. You have not
can't-
seen me wear one piece
No,
of
you're on a
garment of Cowboys, and I have it
You're-
here in the room. It's still
You're on a break.
studio is still got Roger Staubach and
Listen,
Tom
the
Landry
good old
and
days.
got Rockin' Randall over there, and I got Dallas Cowboy Terrible Towel, and I mean, I got caps hanging everywhere. Not one of those, and I have a few shirts in my closet. Not one of those garments have been hanging on me since that playoff game that they lost to Green Bay. Not one.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about it.
I know.
And we're going to bring it up again today because we're going to go over each schedules. But I think maybe preliminarily when you and I were talking a few weeks ago before that came out, maybe I was talking to somebody else.
It was me.
It was like maybe 11-6 or 12-5. But I after this debacle with the running back, they're not even on the same page, Kyle. I mean,
I didn't know they were going to be this early to go on a Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I might as well.
It's my fault. Like
you brought it up. You started it.
I started it.
I kind of said. I mean, those are listening to us for the first time. I don't script. We don't script anything.
No.
We might have a plan of what we're going to talk to, but there have been multiple times where that plan went out the window in the first 5 minutes of the show because, let's talk about that. And then we start talking, we get on it for 45 minutes, and we'll do it next week. And we forget about it.
Sure.
So I said before we started, hey, let's talk about our team's NFL schedules. It's not like the Cowboys still aren't my team. It's just I just have lost complete faith and don't believe that there's
in who they are. Yes.
There's no hope, and but I still evaluate and talk about them.
Sure, right.
I'm just not. Look, I'm going to stand by it. I may have to do it just because I said I would. I'm not watching the first game. I'm not watching.
So that's going to be your protest. Is not watching the first game.
I may not watch any. I'm going to start with not watching the first one, and probably if they get off to a rough start, I may not watch any. All year.
See, I think that's crazy because
maybe Thanksgiving Day just because that's what I do on Thanksgiving.
Sure, but it's also like I've watched 2-10, 2-14 Chiefs teams.
I've watched 1-15 and watched every game,
all their games. Yeah, so
and 3-13's 3 years in a row. I watched every game.
Yeah, but you don't want to do it.
I just don't want to go through. I don't want to go through. I would if I knew they weren't any good. I might say, okay, well, I'm still supporting the team when I know there's talent there, and because of coaching or management or whatever, there's no hope from winning a playoff game or getting past the first round. You're going to hear the same old story. So they're going to make the playoffs. All this hype's going to go around them because that's what the media does and Dallas market and everything else, and they're going to make everybody think they're Super Bowl contenders when they should have never even been in the playoffs to begin with. They are the worst team in the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
worst team.
They were awful last year.
Out of how many? 14 teams?
Yeah.
The worst team in the playoffs with the second or third best record.
Yeah, it was disappointing to say the least. Like, I don't know. I get it.
Do you?
I've been there before.
You have. But you've been conditioned now over the last 5 years that it's like, well, things are going pretty good.
Things are pretty good, so I just laugh at Dan from afar. You know,
everybody makes fun of Dan now.
I don't make fun of you.
No,
I just make fun of the Cowboys.
No, but you did.
I do.
You did make one earlier.
I do like to ruffle your feathers just a little bit when it comes to said Dallas Cowboys.
I'd ruffle me too.
Yeah, but it's not that I don't. I respect your opinion.
I know.
I just want you to get to watch the games. That's all.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen the first game. I'm not saying. Look, I'm not making a statement. I'm not watching them all year long. I'm not saying that.
Sure.
I'm just saying I am not looking forward
to the season.
I'm not looking forward to the season opener. I'm not looking forward to the season at all.
I get it though.
And then what was their thinking? The opener against the Browns. What was that thought? Are they trying to jack up the Browns ratings? Because people will watch the Cowboys.
Yes. I don't know. Probably because Cleveland is a decent market. I don't know. But maybe get a... The
only people that care about the Browns is Cleveland.
Yes. I just don't understand why you'd be complaining about that. Like, maybe you get the win.
Nah,
but
I wouldn't count on it.
I don't know. No. I wouldn't because the Browns have a really good defense, so you never know. Yeah. But and maybe there's a formula to beat the Cowboys now that they saw in the postseason.
Yeah, show up.
Yeah, you do have to show up. That's a major thing, which they didn't show up. So, yeah, I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do this year. It's tough to say. We got Dan's done. He's done. He dropped the mic. He's out of here. So this is the Kyle show right now. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, especially with the fact that it's like you really thought that Zeke Elliott was the one to go back to. He's the your ex-girlfriend that you wish you had back. Zeke Elliott is the guy.
Not me.
Like that's the part that I don't quite understand is like why go to Zeke? Like that would make me frustrated as a fan.
Which was it? Him? I've slept since this happened. Was it McCarthy, or is it McCarthy? McCarthy, or Jerry that said, "Wow, Deke hasn't lost a step." One of them said it.
I think it was McCarthy.
I think it was too. It's like that doesn't make me feel very warm and fuzzy because last year Dallas was awful, and then he was worse than awful last year in New England.
Yeah, I don't.
It was like 2.2 yards per carry.
I don't know what you do there.
And then today I saw somewhere they said Jerry thinks that Ezekiel is the starting running back, and McCarthy said we're going to have running back by committee. Well, you got to have somebody
do that.
That tells you right away you have no running back. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Well, that means you have no running back.
Yikes.
Now look, I mean, you hear that from Mike Gundy, and you think there's some really good running backs there.
Yeah, right. Sure.
You just can't decide which one is the front runner. And remember when Ollie Gordon 2 years ago, it was running back by committee until he's like, oh, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
So
that was last year, right?
No, maybe it was.
Yeah, it was just last year.
He took off last year, didn't he? So it's like you don't even have anybody on your roster that even resembles a good running back. Now, I mean, Zeke, yes, used to be. He's going to put people are still like him and are going to come see him probably. But is that why it just looks like the same thing I've been saying all along. Jerry doesn't care as long as he puts people in the seats.
Right, yeah.
That's all he cares about.
It's his pocketbook that he doesn't really.
Yes.
And you're 12-5, you get a postseason, like you go to the playoffs, you keep giving people hope. They're going to come. Like
they are.
That's
been their formula for
it's not going
30
to go
years.
away.
It's the formula. Like just make people believe that we have a shot, and we'll keep putting people in the seats. We'll keep selling merchandise. We'll still have the highest TV rating because everybody still hates us, along with everybody in the country that still loves us, and we'll be relevant, and they will be. But if that goes south, Jerry's got big problems.
Now, do you think? Because I thought this could be a good point of discussion as well. Is there that many believe that the Chiefs are now that the Cowboys are? Like they have the notoriety, they have the stars and things like that. That there's a lot of people that really like them, but there's also a lot of people that really hate the Chiefs now.
Because
so really the question was, are the Chiefs the new America's team?
I don't. Well, people have tried to push the America's team tag off Dallas for 45 years.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know how that all came about, by the way? Have you ever seen that?
I don't know.
Oh. So there's a thing running on NFL Network right now. I think it's called Timeline. And it talks about how the guy that produced the NFL Network's highlight film for each team every year was trying to name the video for the Cowboys. And he came up with, because of Roger Staubach being Captain America.
Yeah.
And this was they were doing the highlight reel for 1978. And he came up with America's team. And John Facenta, who is the voice of the NFL films then, he's the deep The frozen
The tundra.
That's John Facenta.
Okay.
He's the one that says, America's
His
team,
team.
the Dallas Cowboys.
And
Jerry, and then not Jerry,
I
but Tom
nailed the NFL film song.
hated it because
Jerry did or
no,
Roger did?
Tom Landry hated
Tom
it
Landry did.
because he felt that any publicity back that would make them a target.
Sure.
People would hate them, and it would put a target on their back, which he was right. He liked to fly in under the radar, and this put them square on their shoulders. And keep in mind that since then, Tom Landry never won another Super Bowl.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
I mean, he lasted another 10 years, and he never won. He got close 3 years in a row after Staubach retired. 80 season, 81 season, 82 season. They got in the NFC Championship game, and one of them was the San Francisco the Catch, the Dwight Clark, and then the year before that they got robbed in Philly. And then the year after that, they got hammered against Washington. I mean, they just got hammered. That was that strike season, I think.
Sure.
And they never got close until Jimmy got there. So they went all those years and they even sniffed it.
So that's interesting the way that was just an NFL films show that it started. And that makes sense why, Tom would want to fly under the radar and all of that.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but now you have Jerry Jones who does want
just the opposite.
It does the opposite. Yeah, for sure.
Now, Tex Schramm, who was the general manager of the Cowboys since their inception until Jerry bought the team, he was kind of the innovative one, like Jerry. I mean, he had created the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, created the Dallas Cowboy Network.
Sure.
Why there's so many Cowboy fans all over the world is because he created the network.
He created that
and went into markets where they didn't have NFL teams.
So that's the thing, and that's why
Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico.
When was that? Do you know?
I think he created Dallas Cowboy Network in the mid '70s. I want to say might have been early '70s.
So that's probably around the time that Turner
came in.
WGN
that came in late '70s.
Okay, so that's what I was
probably
wondering.
Before that.
I wondered about that because just the Cubs and the Braves were a lot of people's favorite teams because they were available in networks
on what was the radio station out of Chicago? WGN.
So, which is so funny because I'll talk to people even now. Yesterday, one of my best friends said, "Yeah, I used to love to watch the old 2001, 2002 Cubs because I'd go over to my grandparents' house, and that was the game that was on because WGN." And so that's really interesting because I feel like that's probably the same with the Cowboys is that you're available. So, people are going to watch you and be a fan of you. And so your availability means everything in that regard. So I think that's how you become America's team in the process, for sure. So that makes sense why it was called that if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, they just had fans all over the world, so... And then you had Staubach, who was Captain America, so it fit. I'm seeing here if they've got the Dallas Cowboy Network history.
Was it the first regional sports network, I wonder?
It was one of them.
It's got to be.
I mean, other than maybe how long were the Cubs on?
But they weren't the Dallas Cowboys Network. There wasn't, specifically for them, because WGN is just a legit local home station when you're back there. So that's interesting. Question?
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of WGN,
have
you watched The Bear at all?
No.
You need to watch
The Bear. I don't even know what it is.
It's about a world-renowned chef who takes over an Italian beef spot. In Chicago.
Okay.
And it's basically running a restaurant, so I think you'd be very interested in it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's behind the scenes, shot really well, acting is really good. Jeremy Allen White, the guy that played Kerry Von Erich.
Yeah.
He plays the bear.
Really?
He's
Where's it on?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on Hulu.
I'll check it out.
It's one of my favorite shows of all time, and it's coming. The next season's coming out this summer, so that's something you got to check out. I think you'd love it. Some of the best acting that I've seen on a TV show, for sure.
I'm having a hard time finding the origination.
Yeah,
but,
that's all right.
Speaking of Chicago, do you know there's Portillo's in Denton, Texas?
Yes,
now?
I did.
We
know
need
that.
to make a road trip.
Heck yeah, we do. I've known this. I knew it was coming to North Texas. Like
Denton.
You know, I love Portillo's.
I know you do.
And I didn't lead you astray when you went. Of course. I think I told you what to order, right? Or did you figure out what to order when you were there?
Well, I ordered the Italian beef and I ordered the hot dog.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
So
chili cheese dog.
One of my buddies was in Chicago the other day. He's like, "What do I order from Portillo's cookie?" Because that's what all my friends call me.
You saw cheese fries too.
It's cheese fries, Italian beef combo.
Yeah.
So you get it's beef and an Italian sausage in there.
Yeah.
And
the chili cheese, and they actually didn't order the chili cheese dog. They actually put it in the bag. So I got one. It's like, oh, there's chili dog.
How about a chili dog for you? Which there
we need to make a road trip.
Yes, there is a decent Chicago eatery in town as well.
Here?
Yeah, it's on Northwest Expressway.
It's terrible.
It's called Cal's.
Is it over there off of Rockwell?
I'm not sure.
Have you been there?
Yeah, and I like it.
I hated it.
You hated it. Interesting.
If it's the same one.
This is a little hole in the wall place?
Yeah. Over there.
It's over by a Petco over there.
That's
it. It's
right
interesting.
Petco.
That's funny because I thought it was pretty decent.
I didn't care for it.
It's not Portillo's though.
No,
it's just not.
I did the Italian beef and the peppers aren't the same.
No.
It was bitter. Not. The beef might have been okay.
You got to get the spicy.
It wasn't spicy. It was green peppers.
You don't do green peppers. That's a Chicago sin.
That's what I told you.
Yeah,
I said this is not a Chicago deep Italian beef.
That is a Chicago sin.
So you put hot peppers.
You put sweet peppers on bell peppers.
Bell peppers.
Yeah, that's a Philly cheesesteak, kids. That's what that is. That's what you guys did.
I was like, this is not.
Is there a good Philly cheesesteak in town? Philly cheesesteak?
I don't think so.
Because Jersey Mike's is pretty good. I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I know it's not. I've never had a Philly cheesesteak in Philly.
I will tell you, there is a. I don't know if it's a Philly cheesesteak, but I'll tell you like a roast beef Italian beef sandwich. It's not Italian though. Is Krell's.
Krell's
is really
oh yeah, Krell's I've heard is really good.
It's good.
Yeah. And we're getting Picklemans around here right now, which is also a Chicago.
So one of my old
style thing
colleagues is the ops director for Picklemans.
I wonder what his last name is. I wonder if it's the same guy.
It's actually a girl.
Oh, not the same person then. Because I was asked to interview for a job for manager spots at Picklemans.
Yeah.
A couple times.
I could get you a shoe in there.
Yeah, I don't need to go there, but
I know. Anyway. No, I actually have her. She's in my phone. Actually, she's and
they're popping up all over Oklahoma City.
Well, they got the one, and there's a bunch of other stuff going on.
But they're coming in. They're coming into Yukon.
Yep.
So
by the church.
Excited about
by
that.
the entrance.
Yes.
The new entrance.
It's wild there.
Yeah.
That
it's
whole
crazy.
It's crazy. If we do live in. I mean, Oklahoma City is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. We're above Nashville. We have been above Nashville a while, but our county that we specifically live in is top 3
it's growing.
fastest larging counties in the country. So Oklahoma City is a place to be. So
that whole area between 10th and Reno is just going crazy.
Crazy.
And then it's going to start east of there when that one's
finished. And I wonder what Mustang Road's going to look like in 5 years.
Gosh.
You know, like all that, because there's a lot of open space over there.
I think you're going to see a lot of residential go in there, but I could be wrong.
Yep.
I already know that between...
Which means they're all coming to my school, so good for me.
Okay,
I won't get paid any different either.
Yeah, you won't. Well, so let's talk about our team's NFL schedules. Can we do that for a minute?
Let's do it.
So I kind of thought maybe we would pull up.
Who do you think has the most primetime games this year?
The New York Jets. Is that crazy? I mean,
it's
come
crazy.
on. Let's not. I think I may have texted you. I don't remember. I started to.
Yeah.
Are they just trying to cram Aaron Rodgers down our throat?
They are, which doesn't even make sense because he's just a lunatic. I thought it was the Chiefs
I don't think so. I think it's
'Cause
the
they
Jets. I
have-
think the Cowboys are second.
because we have one.
You should have either
We
4
have
or
a
5.
Christmas Day game, so that's prime time. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still not more than Aaron Rodgers.
No,
It's 4. That's crazy.
yeah,
That is
Cowboys have 5,
crazy.
and the Jets have 6.
That is crazy. Wow. Wow. All right. Patrick looked like he was back.
Where is your schedule?
Hey, look at that. World champions back to back. How about that?
All right, here we go.
Are we ready?
Are we ready? That's
Okay.
the preseason, so we're in regular season.
Where's
So,
they play the Bears?
so,
The Bears.
so let's do win or loss.
'Kay.
Okay. And I'm going to let you pick your team, and I'll pick my team on win or loss.
Okay.
And I'll tell you if I agree or disagree,
Okay.
but we'll go by yours. So Ravens opener.
We haven't been great in the opener lately,
So that's
but
a loss.
I think we'll win. I think we're
That's
gonna win.
that's at home.
Yeah, we're gonna go. It's at home. So
NFL Network. Everybody picked them losing that game on the
I
NFL
kind
Network.
of feel like they might lose that game too. Actually, let me go. Let's just go
Okay.
L. Let's take an L there.
Okay, 0-1.
1-1. We'll beat
Home.
Joe. Yep.
1-1 at Atlanta.
We'll win.
2-1 at Chargers.
Win.
3-1 home against the Saints.
Win.
4-1 bye week, and then at 49ers.
Off the bye. I think we'll lose. So
4-2 at Raiders.
Win.
5-2 Buccaneers at home.
Win.
6-2 Broncos.
Big
home.
win. Yeah.
7-2 at Buffalo.
They beat us in the regular season, so it's fine. 7-3.
7-3 at Panthers.
Win.
8-3 home against the Raiders.
Win.
9-3 home against the Chargers.
Win.
10-3 at Brown. At Browns.
Win.
We have a comparable game there, so that's 11-3.
Yep.
Okay. Houston. Home.
I think they'll lose that game.
So 11-4.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those sneaky ones they might lose.
And then at Steelers.
We'll beat the Steelers.
12-4. At Broncos.
13-4.
13-4. I don't know if I disagree with any of your picks. Maybe one game against the Raiders.
Their schedule is not that difficult, actually.
And I don't even know if the Raiders are any good. I just know you had them winning all those conference games. I don't know if they're going to win all of them.
They usually win all of them. They went 5-1 last year, 6-0 the year before.
They'll either lose at Chargers or at Raiders.
No.
But I think they might win a game you had them losing. Like I think they might beat Buffalo. So I agree with
Buffalo's kind of down now, I would say. So yeah, you're probably right.
I would go 13-4. I don't disagree with that record.
That record, yeah.
All right, so Cowboys.
And here we go. Dakota Fanning in a new movie, by the way.
Oh.
It popped up. Sorry. You can't see our screen.
I don't like that. So let's go back to the actual Dallas Cowboy website. Uh-oh.
DallasCowboys.com. Which, by the way, you know, your hope, though, is your theory with the Rangers winning.
Yeah, but that may sail
The
with
Mavericks Mavericks are in the Western Conference. The Stars are in the Western Conference Finals too, as well. So
I don't want tickets. That's what I want.
there we go. Schedule right there. Over there. Boom. Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. Let's cookies. Come on. All right. All right, so here we go. Regular season, Cowboys at Browns. Or you say it, I'll tell you win or loss. Go.
Okay. Wait.
I'm going to say loss. 0-1.
Okay, 0-1.
Yeah. Win against the Saints. You go ahead.
1-1.
Okay, so you say the team, I'll tell you whether they're
Okay, Ravens.
Ravens at home, they're going to lose. So They're 1-2.
1-2. We got the New York Giants at the New York Giants.
They'll win that one.
We have at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What's the record against the Giants? They're 2-2.
They're 2-2.
Okay. Loss.
Loss to the Steelers.
2-3.
2-3.
Loss.
2-4.
Bye week. At 49ers. Loss.
Okay, so 2-5.
A win at Atlanta.
3-5.
Win at home against the Eagles.
4-5.
Loss against Houston. Monday night game.
4-6.
At Washington, they win.
5-6.
At Giants, or home against the Giants, they win.
6-6.
I think they'll beat the Bengals.
Okay, 7-6.
They'll beat the Panthers.
Yep, 8-6.
They'll lose to the Buccaneers.
Okay, 8-7.
They lose at Eagles.
8-8.
And they beat the Commanders.
So you are down on the. Okay, so go back to the top. Let me give the people a realistic expectation. Let's
argue with me
let's
here.
try
Okay.
this again.
He's gonna argue with me
because you're 9-8. You're right
Yeah,
now. You're 9-8. You are
Okay.
a Jason Garrett season right
Yep,
here with
yep,
the Cowboys. Okay,
yep.
they're gonna beat the Browns.
All right.
1-0.
All right.
Saints they'll win 2-0.
All right.
Ravens they'll lose. That's 2-1.
Yeah.
They'll beat the Steelers.
3.
That's 3-1.
What about the Giants?
They'll beat the Giants.
So they're 4-1.
4-1. The Lions will lose. They're 4-2. 4-3.
That's the 49ers.
49ers.
Yeah.
Falcons is 5-3. So they'll win that game.
Home against the Eagles.
They'll win that game 6-3.
Texans.
They'll lose that game in 6-4.
I disagree.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay. Commanders they'll win. That's 7-4.
Mm-hmm.
They'll lose a Giants game at home because that's what they like to do. It's 7-5.
Okay. Bengals.
Bengals, I think they'll win.
Okay. 8-5.
8-5. Panthers they'll win 9-5.
5.
I think they'll beat the Bucks
10-5.
10-5. They'll lose to the Eagles 10-6, and they'll beat the Commanders. So we're not that far off.
You're 11-6.
I'm at 11
and I'm
yeah,
9-8.
11-6.
So there's 2 game difference. Yeah, there's a 2 game difference. So
Interesting.
Curiosity.
I really thought there might be. I'd fit more wins in there for you, but
you want to hear who if I would have thought about it, it was I wasn't going to bet while I was in Vegas, but one bet I was going to lay while I was there is the Texans to win it all.
Well, I mean that's it's a bold pick,
Yeah.
but it's also good odds.
But I didn't remember it until I was on the way to the airport on Thursday, and I thought
it's decent odds if you do.
Yeah,
that, for sure.
Well, I just teams never won it. They've got the quarterback. They've got some good receivers. They've got a decent running back. They're just
getting Stephon Diggs, adding Stephon Diggs
yes.
to an already loaded wide receiver
I think
staff.
they'll be much improved, and they were a playoff team last year. So now, look, they got to contend with the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Chargers and everything else. But I really seriously thought I was going to do it, and just never. It wasn't a priority for me, but I really thought, hey, if I was going to bet money in Vegas, it would have been on the Texans to win it all.
Not bad for a youth pastor who runs your team to turn it around.
Yeah. All
Which,
right.
by the way, the Cowboys' schedule reveal was pretty funny, which is actually at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there, is they just FaceTime people that were fans of the opposite team that they were scheduling.
Yeah.
So, like, they had a group of people sitting there, like
Here.
Dak was.
Yeah.
And then they'd call, like...
See Post Malone.
Yeah,
is there.
Post Malone's there.
Yeah.
So, like, they called Jason Kelsey for when they played the Eagles, and so he's like, what are you guys doing there? And so that's pretty funny. That was a really good... Some of the schedule reveals that they've done is awesome.
Yeah, they've done a good job with it. NFL's done a great job marketing themselves.
The Chargers did a whole... I don't know if you remember the video game The Sims.
No, I don't.
They did a whole thing on that. What were some of the other ones that I saw? I can't remember. But they've gotten really clever with, like, hey, this is another big benchmark thing, basically. So I think that's pretty cool that they've been able to do that for sure.
So, look, we'll have our way too early playoff predictions probably in a few weeks, maybe middle of July, something like that, or middle of June. And then, of course, we'll do it again before the season starts. But if you had to, pick today, you got the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl again?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I figured.
But
I mean, I ask you.
Listen, I try to have a realistic approach, but I don't know that anybody got better than the Chiefs in the offseason, because the Chiefs have improved. They've kept guys that they're able to keep. They did lose L'Jarius Sneed, but they gained, a couple guys here and there. They got wide receiver help that is really going to open up things for Travis Kelce, who is really the only target, and now you have two guys that can burn the ball down the field. And we don't know what's happening with Rashee Rice because he's a knucklehead, but I do think that they are destined to at least go to the AFC Championship game. That's what I'll say right now.
Who do they play?
I think it's the Texans and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game this year.
So we're kind of on the same page a little bit.
Yeah, because I don't know. Burrow, it's tough to say if he can stay healthy or all that, and what he's got around him is aging. I don't know. Their window seems to be closing, but it can't close when you have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on the same team. So I'm not saying that they're completely out of the woods.
Where you see the Jets with Aaron Rodgers this year?
Probably, maybe he'll play 5 downs this year. I don't know. I can't stand the Jets, so I don't know. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers.
Are they going to be better than the Dolphins? Better than the Bills?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, I think that they'll sneak into the playoffs. And
better than the Patriots?
That's only because I think the AFC East is bad.
Yeah. Well, you can bet that the NFL will do everything they can to get him in the Super Bowl.
To get Aaron Rodgers in there?
Yeah, of course. Well, first it's New York, and 2 it's him.
I think they like to see Chiefs Jets like they wanted last year, but I don't know. They had such a good defense.
You better worry about that.
Sure.
If that's the case.
I don't think the NFL wants anything to do with him, though.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, we had this whole thing about Harrison Butker last week and what he believes and all that, and like you guys don't even, which by the way was not the greatest take in the world.
Yeah.
But it's also one that is like way more accepted than what Aaron Rodgers has to believe, like, and all that. Like, he's in crazy town.
Yes.
Nobody's saying a word about what he has to say.
Yeah.
But Harrison Butker makes, some really conservative Christian remarks, and he's getting thrown under the bus for it. And I think that's what people don't understand is like, and if you didn't see it, like, I do not like, he gave a speech last week really about like, that were kind of tone deaf when talking to a room of graduates about the fact that to women is like you have motherhood to look forward to and all of that. Like, and so people were up in arms, and he kind of took jabs at a couple political things. And he's got absolutely roasted for it on the internet, for sure. And so,
but we can. Well, look, we could. I probably need to keep my mouth shut.
No, it's just one of those things. It's like people were upset that he held this view, and I'm like, he has every right to believe.
Well, it's okay for people to talk about perversion, but it's not okay for somebody to talk about Christian.
Sure.
And that's the issue I have with it.
Yeah, it's like. I think that was my frustration is like, dude, you're wrong at the wrong thing. Like, there's other people in this league that have crazier views, Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't know. That was a tangent that because I disagree with how he did it and sort of the way that he said it. It's like, I don't know if that's the time at a college graduation to mention that when people just got their degrees.
Well, it's kind of like the Ultimate Warrior having that rant on that commencement speech, or where he spoke at a few years before he died. You've seen that, right?
No, I don't remember that. But
he was out of line there, but he definitely stuck to some very conservative
values. Interesting. Yeah, he's kind of crazy town too.
In a collegiate setting, which is just like, why are you? That's not a good spot to. And look, I didn't agree with some of the things he said. Some of the things I did say, I did agree with. But it's like, you probably need to. Now's
not the time, buddy.
Yeah, like, not there. He had people barking at him and heckling him, and it was bad. It was bad.
I've seen some it was like the funniest commencement speeches or funniest people.
Yeah.
Like most odd people to like this guy's doing a commencement speech.
Yeah.
The one that I could find was Jungle Jack Hanna. Like he did his Tonight Show stick at commencement, which then made me think like, what if we just had like monster trucks as your commencement rather than just some random dude? Like,
well,
I think that'd be more fun.
And then I mean, look, I know we're kind of getting off track here, but it's like walking out on Jerry Seinfeld because he's Jewish. I mean,
right? Sure.
You certainly hit those people that were doing that, and look, they could have been Muslim. I don't know, but for people to do it based off he's Jewish and don't really know,
Well, it was more so a protest throughout the country, less than
I know.
But anyway,
I know.
We don't need to get into politics.
No,
we don't like to do
stop.
it. We don't like to do it.
We generally try to stay away from it. But we both, Kyle and I, both have very aligned, for the most part, conservative Christian views as far as some things go.
Some things, yeah.
I mean, you're a little bit more on the liberal side.
Yeah, I am.
I'm a little bit more on the conservative side, but we definitely have the same drawn to the Lord, and we're not gonna get away from that regardless. Sure. We're not gonna compromise that. So.
Yep, I took us there. That was my fault, but
you did.
Yes.
NBA. So look, I didn't even watch the last game because I knew what was going to happen. The Thunder losing Game 6, but
But you ranted like you
did because I saw what they were saying on social media, and I thought, how am I not surprised they blew the game?
Sure.
I was tracking it like I do with the Cowboys sometimes on Gamecast, but I didn't watch it. And then social media and what people were saying, because I wanted to see how they lost and what happened, and then you chimed in and goes, well, they got robbed, but, it happened, or something like that. It was a bad call is what you said, I think, at the end. And then it confirmed basically what I was reading on social media.
Well, the officiating was horrible pretty much the whole series, one way or another. I actually think the Thunder got most of the calls that game, but Tony Brothers was so bad throughout the whole series.
I still haven't even seen what the call was. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so the Thunder were up 2 with 8 seconds on the clock or so, or I think it might have been less than that. It was 2.5 seconds left on the clock. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander goes up for a block on a corner 3.
Yeah.
He hits the ball.
Yeah.
Like, it was all ball.
Yeah.
And then on the way down, he kind of hit his arm. And they argued that since he wasn't shooting, he clutched. Like, he did a little move.
Yeah.
And they argued that it wasn't on the original shot.
Yeah.
Or the block was on the original shot, not the actual shot. And so he blocked him or hit his arm while he was in his actual shooting motion, which I didn't see. I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand that. And really, he should have been more patient. He should have just let him. He should have just let him make or miss.
Yeah.
Right. Because he would have missed it, but Kyrie would have probably tied the game anyway.
Yeah.
That being said, it was just one of those things. I was heartbroken because I watched every game this season. Or I think I watched 70+ games this year.
That's a lot. I didn't watch any except the one we went to.
Yeah, right. But yeah, regardless, they're the youngest team ever to win a playoff series. Yeah. So
and they swept it.
And they swept it, and then they held their own against 2 stars in the league in the Mavericks. And so I'm not overly disappointed because it's really a positive season. It just sucks to lose that way. I would say is on free throws, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But it's one of those things that I also think this will fuel the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I hope so.
In the off season, it'll give them a little bit more juice. Not that they need it, but I feel like it will. So yeah, I dislike Luka Doncic forever in the process as well because he was absolutely insufferable, complaining at every call.
I heard.
He was a baby.
That's what I heard. I saw some of the...
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, I went to game 2, so it was really fun.
Yeah.
To be there and all that. I got to go to I went to game 2, which was awesome. Lost though, but it was still really fun. Dogs were barking. It was loud in there, and you can just really feel like the city's back. Like
yeah, it is.
This got the it might be one of those things is that people don't really, peek their head up. Maybe they're doing something else until the playoffs.
Yeah,
and then you win a series, so you get a lot like more people interested in, and like we know what success brings to the city itself.
Yeah.
When the Thunder are good,
it's good for the town.
Like this team needs to be good because the economy of our city really. It doesn't depend on it.
No, it doesn't.
But it certainly does help it.
It does help the economy.
It gives us a lot of...
Helps the workforce.
Yes, helps the workforce, gives more jobs, gets more, revenue to small businesses and things like that. And so I think that's why we appreciate the Thunder so much more than other teams. I think that obviously you can take it for granted when you're a city like Dallas or... Like
big league cities,
we need the Thunder, and so we voted. That's when we voted on it too. Like we weren't going to mess around with the possibility of losing them, and so I think that adds to the story of the season and them going forward. The attachment that the team is as tight as I've ever seen a team as far as like their camaraderie goes. So. I don't know. I was very thankful for this season. Love this team to death. Wish it would have ended differently.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have won in the next round. Sure would have been fun to see, but you never know. You never know.
Keep everybody healthy, and I really like their coach.
He's great. Mark Dagnall's awesome.
Good.
He's awesome.
And the city gets behind it. I worry about how long they'll be able to keep everybody together, but... Just don't want to go through those 5. How many years were they down before? I mean, realistically, when was the last time they were relevant? 16.
16.
So that's been 8 years.
They made a playoff appearance in 2020.
You can't. You can't. I don't know if a city can. I mean, well, I guess you can, but it's just if you're going to cycle for 4 years, every 8 years, and then 1 year you have a shot, maybe. It's pretty brutal.
I understand. I just don't see it with this team, and it's.
We didn't see it with the other team either.
Right. I will say that. I understand that. However, when you look at the individual egos of Russ, KD, and James Harden, they are way more self-centered.
I don't think they were in the beginning. At least it didn't give the appearance.
It didn't give the appearance of that. Yeah. But this team, it feels like their togetherness is there,
Winning
and they want to do this
crazy
together.
Things, man.
It does. It does
crazy things.
Yep.
All right. So Celtics, they the team to beat.
I think so.
Yeah, I do too. Just what I read. I mean, look, I haven't watched them play either, but just based on what I read, it seemed like they're the best team.
Yeah, I'm hoping for Celtics Timberwolves. I think that'd be a fun series. The Timberwolves have a guy that I really like, Anthony Edwards. So,
okay.
Yeah, there you
go. We have about 6 more minutes before we go into our close and our devotional. I want to talk just a minute about wrestling. I know, here we go. I want to not talk about what's going on currently. I want to talk about what's going on the WWE Network with Rivals. So
tell me about it.
So there's been some really good stuff on.
There has.
The one that I saw recently was Rock against Hogan.
Yeah, sure.
Which I actually saw that whole thing unfold because I was paying attention.
Paying attention back then, yeah.
Well, WCW had gone under. Did you lose your phone?
I lost my phone.
Yeah, it's there somewhere.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
It usually is.
WCW had gone under. They merged some of the people. Hogan came in, and they had this whole thing with The Rock. And I actually got the pay-per-view on that show.
Which was WrestleMania
2012, I think, or 13.
Sure, so
somewhere in there.
It was
Not
like
13.
WrestleMania 28
Not
or
13.
38.
It was no, it was 2003, I believe. 2003. Sorry, my dates were off. Yep, that's when it was.
It was WrestleMania
18. Yeah.
18.
And I don't remember any other cards on the show, but I did see that show. I don't
Sure.
know why I don't remember it, but I pulled a card up. Like, I don't remember any of this, but I remember that game, but that match.
Sure.
I thought that was very well done. I don't really know some of the particulars. I didn't, I don't understand. I know more about backstories now than I did then, so I believe it all to be authentic. The one I'm having a problem with, and you know where I'm probably going with this, is Flair versus Dusty.
Oh, boy.
I have a problem with somebody sitting in a round table evaluating something they barely were alive when this happened. They have no. I wasn't in the room, but I followed what happened with these two from almost the get-go. And all it is stuff they read in magazines, or there was no look. Maybe I'm in the same boat, but they weren't even accurate.
Sure.
Some of the stuff they didn't know what they were talking about. But it was well done, by the way. And they left stuff out of it, I felt like. It was all to kind of make Dusty look like this, larger-than-life person. And, of course, guess who one of the people in the room were?
Dusty. Wait.
Dustin.
Dustin,
Yeah.
of course.
Not
Yeah.
Dustin. Cody.
Cody.
Cody was in
Gotcha.
the room. So, look, I get it, and it was respect to him and all that, but you got X-Pac in there, or whoever it is, Sean Waltman, whatever his
Yeah.
name is.
Yep.
They got him sitting in there. I think JBL was in there. People that weren't even relevant at the time, and maybe that's why I haven't seen anything on Terry Funk.
Sure.
Is because they have nobody alive that
That
can really
could
tell
be,
the story.
yes.
But I just wish, because they don't really tell. They only tell you the sensational part of the story. They don't really tell you the true history of everything that's going on.
Right. There's still a lot of kayfabe in the.
There is. And I'll tell you one thing that I really caught my eye. So there was Cornette has a show on a podcast or YouTube or whatever called Back to the Territories. He did it several years ago. It's old. But he had Houston Wrestling. And it was better than anything that now it wasn't a lot of the.
But it was probably more true.
It was. I mean, it was back behind the scenes stuff of Paul Bosch, and it was the first time I've ever heard somebody saying the only reason Eddie Graham did what he did is because he learned it from Dory Funk Sr. I about fell out of my chair when I heard it. He talked about the Boys Ranch and being in the community. He learned it all from Dory Funk Sr. And it's like, holy cow, somebody gave credit to the Funks.
Where credit is
now,
due.
it was on YouTube, and nobody will see it
Sure.
except for a few people that watched it. But the whole story about Paul Bosch and how he created Houston Wrestling, and it's really, you'd find it interesting because he got involved with McMahon and Bill Watts and all this other stuff. It's really
Interesting.
And he bounced around from territory to territory. Talked about, they're not really necessarily territories, but he aligned with Fritz in Dallas. He aligned with Tully's dad, Joe Blanchard, in San Antonio. He aligned with Gory Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero's father. It just talked about how Bosch aligned himself with all these different entities, and the behind the scenes. The guy that was in with him is Pritchett, Bruce Pritchett, because he started in Houston Wrestling. That's where he got to start.
Bruce Pritchard?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Pritchett, I said. Pritchard. Yeah, because he was worked for the television station, I think, is where he got his start.
Interesting.
He went to the
I
matches.
knew he was a Houston guy, so that makes sense.
He went to the matches with his mom or grandmother, and then he got to hanging around so much. Says, "Hey, kid, come over here and help out." Next thing you know, he's running a camera, and then next thing you know, he's producing a TV show.
Wow.
And it's really interesting, and it's like a 2-hour program.
Wow.
And it was really good.
I'll have to check it out.
But the part I was getting to was just having a problem with these people sitting around talking about Flair and Dusty. and not really having an idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, sure. That's frustrating.
It is. Like, why? What?
Why are we having? Why is Becky Lynch talking about this situation?
Give me somebody that's relevant in the room.
Right.
Now, Cody. Cody might have been a kid when. He was old enough when this all stuff started.
Sure, but yeah.
He was like 8. Come on. If
in
that old.
2003, we were.
No, but I'm talking about.
We're
talking about when
preceding.
When Dusty and Flair met was 72.
Oh my gosh.
And then their rivalry really didn't start till like 81.
Which he's not even born 16 years later.
Okay, so he doesn't even know some of this stuff.
No, right. Because he was born. He's 2 years older than me.
Because Dusty lost his, or Flair won his first title against Dusty in 82.
Sure.
Or no, 81. So 81, he won the title from Dusty in Kansas City or St. Louis or whatever. And then they had this rivalry for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And it was really good, but there was just stuff they left out of it. And I don't know if it's because they weren't there or they just going based off what they saw on TV or whatever. Because Sean Waltman grew up in Tampa, I think, and he went to the matches when Dusty, and so he saw some of that firsthand.
X-Pac. Yeah, see, that's cool.
I hate him. Anyway,
dude, he did his job.
He did.
He did his job.
He's a true heel. Okay. So look, if you're joining us for the first time, the name of our show is Faithletic. It's kind of like it says. We have some faith. We're followers of Christ. We believe in the Word and the good news, and we're going to try to speak positive energies here, even though sometimes I get negative about the Dallas Cowboys. Please forgive me. But at the end of our show, and you will hear more of probably a line with just things that matter the most in life during our off season, and we're kind of there until, let's say, August, where we'll start getting more into football. But we'll talk to various guests. We'll talk each other about life and entertainment in some cases. But before we go, we always try to leave something positive with you from the written word. So we have a devotional, and our devotional is called Daily at the Cross, and that's where the name comes from, Faithletic, a little bit of sports, a little bit of faith. And we want to share just some good news with you before you go. So without further ado, let me see if I can find it. There we go. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, my co-host, Mr. KC, with Daily at the Cross. It's all yours, sir.
All right. So this is talking about hearing God's voice. It says God does not have a speaking problem. We have a hearing problem. We've got to figure out what is preventing us from hearing the voice of God, because he's calling. He calls his own sheep by name. So he is not just talking to all of us. He's talking to each one of us individually, even when he's talking to the whole flock or herd. Here's a little tidbit for you. In a group of sheep called a flock or herd, the answer is both. Is a group of sheep called a flock or herd? The answer is both. A flock is simply the term given to a group of sheep, the way a gaggle is a group of geese. A herd usually refers to animals that gather in groups for protection. They're prey animals. Even when he's talking to the whole group, he's looking at you. He wants to lead you. He wants you to recognize his voice. And he wants you to follow him. The most important thing a sheep learns is the voice of its shepherd. Sheep are perhaps the stupidest animals on earth. Jesus wasn't being complimentary when he compared people to sheep, but they have one superlative ability. They can pick their shepherd's voice out of a cacophony of others. Jesus continues in the next 2 verses. When he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. Have you ever seen a video of a huge gathering of sheep with different shepherds? Sheep follow their noses when they graze, so a group of several flocks can be completely intermingled in a field. But when the shepherds call to their flocks, each individual sheep makes a beeline to its own shepherd. And those whose shepherd has not called pay no attention at all to continue to graze. It's like watching an anthill of sorts. Something we must be aware of is that the devil actually has a voice too, and he likes to talk. The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians that even he masquerades as an angel of light. So how do we recognize when it's God's voice speaking to us? How do I know it's not an angel of light or just me? Could it be my own wishful thinking, my own soul, my own emotions? I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where someone has given you a word because they felt led by the Holy Spirit. We often call that a prophetic word. It's one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit and the operation of the Holy Spirit, and it's very real. Throughout my faith journey, I've been really fortunate to have prophetic words spoken over my life by spiritual leaders. They were very encouraging, life-giving words, but they haven't always been life-giving. Sometimes I got some words made me think, or that made me think like, come on, man, or whatever. A person might say something like this: I've got a word of God. He put his hand on me, and then the word was just off. I'd say, okay, and just let him go. But afterwards, say, hey, thank you so much, but you missed that one. We all miss the mark sometimes. Some people say, well, that stuff should never happen in church. But honestly, it kind of has to happen. Because if we're all going to posture ourselves to hear God speak to us, we want to respond to his voice like children. We have to make mistakes to learn that skill. None of us are perfect. We're going to miss it and get it wrong sometimes. And then, so what do we do about that? There needs to be a test. And 1 John 4:1 addresses this. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are formed from God. Because many false prophets have gone out into the world. Don't just believe every prompting, every idea, every compelling word. Don't believe every spirit, but test. Notice the plural here. The spirits. The Holy Spirit will not be offended if you test what you hear from him. I believe that God is speaking to you. Lean in, listen, move toward him. God is not going to give you more until you do. Why would God continue to do more steps when we haven't been obedient to the steps he's already spoken to you? So in this time, in this season, respond to his voice and follow his voice.
Amen.
So yeah, listen to those prophetic words. I really like that mention there. But before we go, you do have to talk about something that happened.
I do.
With Team Black Mentorship.
Oh yeah.
Last week.
Oh yeah. Some of you joining us for the first time. Team Black Mentorship is actually the parent company, if you will, a non-profit 501. C3 organization that actually mentors kids, and actually kids of all ages. But we generally cater and use our platform to powerlifting, those weightlifting sports some of you may or may not be familiar with. And our goal is always to kind of coach kids and adults self-esteem and just getting stronger mentally, physically, and spiritually. And 2, 3, 4 times a year we take them into competitions. Well, this last Saturday, our team of 9 kids and 1 adult went into the USPF state championship, and for the second year in a row, we came away with the team title.
Congratulations!
Thank you. And it's our third state title in 2 different organizations since last May.
You love to see.
And then, of course, we had the USAPL Nationals in April, where we took 2 of our I guess a little stronger kids for their division, and one won a national title, one placed 5th. And then we're going to have a national qualifier that Team Black Mentorship is promoting August 3rd here in Oklahoma City at the Strength Factory Gym on North Meridian. And that will be our Iron Sharpens Iron 9th annual. This year we're calling it Iron Sharpens Iron Oklahoma because the USAPL has other Iron Sharpens Iron meets across the country. I just named it Iron Sharpens Iron Oklahoma.
Love it.
So that'll be our 9th annual. So we're looking forward to that one. So more information coming on that. In fact, I'm meeting with a videographer tomorrow morning about putting together a promo for us, a little quick 15, 20-second promo for the event, which will be on social media probably by the end of the week. So looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yep.
Congratulations
Big Sam's
again.
gonna help us out.
We should have talked about it more, but
yeah, that's okay.
We got sidetracked. But congratulations on that, Coach.
Thank you. Just wanting to see kids succeed, and look, we try to keep the kids humble. I don't make a big deal out of the records, but it is an accomplishment. We had all but one of our kids set American record, at least one. And then our adult, which is my old training partner, the legendary Meat. Just call him the Meat for now. He doesn't like to be exposed. Anyway, he set 4 new American records on Saturday. He hadn't lifted in 17 years. He's my former training partner.
Wow.
So, yep.
Wow.
Yep. Injuries sidelined him 17 years ago. He pieced together and trained with the kids as well. So he's good inspiration to all of us. So
what a great redemption story.
Yep.
That's pretty
absolutely.
cool.
It is. Thank you. All right. So, again, if you would like to hear more about us, there's plenty of our shows now on YouTube. Also, there's old shows at Faithletic on Facebook. And also Twitch has some old shows as well.
It does.
There's probably about close to 100 shows. We're going to get ready to start our 5th season. And we generally have kind of made this rule. We'll start during football seasons when season starts.
Yep.
So 5th year that Casey and I have done this show, and then we did it a couple of years before that. So theoretically, it's about 6 or 7 years we've been at this.
We're crushing it.
So anyway, looking forward to, I don't know if we'll be here next week, have a meeting. So I don't know if we'll make it, but in 2 weeks perhaps.
2 weeks.
Look forward to hearing from all of you. Thanks for joining us. I am Coach, and I'm with
KC.
And we are
Faithletic
the
the
Podcast.
Podcast.
Have a good night. Thanks for joining us.